Started.
Madam Chair, we can start. Yes. It's recording.
Good evening again. I'm Mary Ann Pintar. I'm the chair of the San Diego County Citizen Law Enforcement Review Board. Welcome to the December 4 meeting. I'm actually going to give our secretary a minute before we call the roll so she can get settled. She just walked in, so I'll give her a minute. Your microphone on it though. Okay, Chair Pintar. Present. Vice Chair Hamilton.
Present.
Secretary Casada, President Dr. Brown.
Present.
Mr. Eason.
Present.
Federico Monreal. Present. Absent. Mr. Rubio.
Present.
Thomas.
Present.
Mr. Ware. Mr. Woods.
Present.
Okay, those records reflect there's a forum for CLERB business. Thank you, Adele. We are going to move to, well, actually, do we have anyone? We don't have anyone participating virtually tonight. Okay, so we can move from number 2 to number 3. But before we do, I know that last month I introduced all of our new board members. We have several that started last month. And I introduced Dr. Thomas, but he wasn't here last month. I'm going to introduce him again because he is here with us. Dr. Thomas has an extensive background in medicine and public health and clinical leadership. He has his education from University of Denver and University of Colorado, and he began his career as a physician with the U.S. Public Health Service in New York City and Morgantown, West Virginia. We are very grateful to have his expertise given our new jurisdiction. So a big welcome to you, Dr. Thomas. We're glad you're here. We can now move to item number 3, public comment. Again, this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any subject matter that's within CLERB's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's open session agenda. You want to go ahead and call it first speaker?
Well, we'd like to call Yusuf Miller.
How much time you said we had?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. My name is Yusuf Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And I'm here to speak on a year in review with the families that I want to thank from behind me and all of you on the dais and things that we have accomplished this year, all of us together, some with a lot of push, some with almost no push we are thinking about. First, I would like to start off in mourning of the 10 people who lost their lives in custody this year. And we wanted to improve that number year by year, making it less and less, and been touting from law enforcement, from the sheriff's department, that we had a lower in custody death rate trend, but now it seems like we have matched last year and we're not out of the woods yet. I pray there's no more loss of life this year. The director of in custody death review, who came to San Diego County and is for the state of in custody deaths in all the county jails, has been working with San Diego County, speaking with the families, organizing to make a difference in custody death review. Also, the medical representative, the medical chair of the BSCC, the Board of State and Community Corrections, has been sat and also visited San Diego because of the high in custody death rate. That San Diego was on the top of the charts for a few years. Just recently, we've sat the third person, the mental health review chair, and that chair will be visiting us next year. And I want to thank the CLERB for helping us find a spot for the town hall, which will be here and after we get the records filled out and everything checks out. The reason why I'm bringing these up, AB 268, and AB 268 and SB 519 started right here in San Diego County from the work of the families that you see behind me and the activists that were helping and pushing them. And these 3 seats are from that tireless work. I know you've had your eyes on it and kept your eyes on it through all this time, but this is the work of the families. Did I run out of time?
Thank you. We'd like to call Deanna Serna.
I'm gonna give my phone to Lisa.
USF Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody, California. So this work is the work of San Diego County and the families behind it, and the work that the families have done along with legislators, for example, AB 847, that the board has been for, and so has the supervisors working towards that, something we have to see and make sure that it's implemented properly to see if we could get something on the street that actually works. We will be watching that, and we want to thank Assembly Member Sharp Collins for promoting that, and also the wonderful new Supervisor Monica Montgomery Stack for the ordinance that calls for the CLERB to also have oversight over the medical personnel involved in custody deaths. These are not small achievements. These are not small movements. Now, though we've come and we give you the business every time we stand up here, we do recognize that these things are important, but we want you to recognize the sacrifice, the pain, and the suffering of all these families behind us to get to this point, which continues, and they will continue, and we continue with them as long as we're doing despite. We need more of this. As we go into 2026, we're going to be focusing, these families behind me and myself and others are going to be focusing on mental health this year. There's a lot of mental health challenges, and these mental health challenges need to be held with as much strength as we're doing with anything else because it's costing us lives. So we look for more from you. We're not saying we did a good job and we're working this year. This is not what I'm saying. I hope nobody's taking that. What I'm saying is we're giving credit where credit is due, but we ask you to up the ante for next year. 2026 is going to be a hard ride of getting things done. That's how we see it in the North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody, California, and all the families behind me are interested in progress more than talks and meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we call Sunday Weddle.
Last month's meeting was our opportunity to address Kelly Martinez. She sat with all of you board members on that side of the podium. You've had our microphone when impacted families and community advocates addressed her face to face. 1 minute and 30 seconds is not enough time for impacted families to speak, only to have our microphone cut. We have been asking to meet with her for over a year because her department has mishandled cases, impeded investigations, lied, sealed how incarcerated persons have died. Kelly Martinez continues to lie to families, the media, the public, just as she lied during her campaign for sheriff. Kelly has run away from us numerous times in public forums. She has a team of lawyers that protects her from wrongful death, class action lawsuits, and even subpoena depositions. Kelly has the audacity to claim she's not responsible for in-custody deaths before her election during Bill Gore's term, but Kelly was under Sheriff Gore's right hand during that time. Kelly Martinez does not support CLERB oversight, and she would have no problem throwing this board under the bus because that's the kind of stuff that she's done for years. She's been able to slither her way out of accountability like a snake in the grass. Kelly Martinez and her staff need to be held accountable for the jail deaths, not just throwing money at the issue, but real accountability. It was not the infrastructure of the building that killed Saxon. $16 million for Wi-Fi upgrades would not have saved him. It was a blatant disregard for human life, failure to perform state-mandated job duties, and lack of care concern for incarcerated people that needed medical and mental health care. That would have saved Saxon. If you were on this side of the podium and it was your son who had died, you would be livid if I cut your mic when you finally had the opportunity to face Kelly Martinez. Don't forget, at the end of the day, you are going home to all your kids. You're going home to all your kids and I am not, and that is a horrible burden to bear. Kelly Martinez should be attending these CLERB meetings regularly for the community to address ongoing legal issues regarding the in-custody deaths. 1 minute and 30 seconds is not enough time to speak on the presentation either. Rest in peace, Saxon Rodriguez.
Thank you. Next, we call Sabrina Weddle.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Weddle. For those who don't know me, for those that do, I'm Saxon's older sister. Saxon died July 20th, 2021 in San Diego Central Jail. My mom just spoke and the little boy next to her is my little brother, Andrew. But who you haven't met is my brother, Seth. Seth doesn't come here because he cannot face the fact that his brother died. Standing here at this podium, repeating myself time and time for the 4th year, having the mic put after me giving you your kudos is crazy. Kelly Martinez has failed at doing her job. The deputies that were working July 20th, 2021 failed at doing their job. I say their name every time because they didn't qualify for qualified immunity. Brian Powell, Andrew Ranovich, Maxwell Wimple, Andre Rander, Melissa Burns, Reggie Barretto, Carrie Cabello, Rhea Encarnacion, Caitlin Hendricks, Marlena Banzit, Kelly Payne, Levy Santos, and Chantel Williams. Those last 9 names were the nurses working. They didn't fall under being modified that just passed. They got to walk away with my brother dying. Kelly Martinez came to this meeting last week and did what? Or last month and did what? Listen to our sorrows just to turn around and there be a death the following week. She does not care, and just like my mom said, she'll continue to throw you guys under the bus while you sit here and cut our mics. 2 minutes, but there's only not even 10 people here. What happens to our 3 minutes? May my brother Saxon Rodriguez rest in peace. And for the new deputies that are here, just know you won't qualify for qualified immunity when more deaths happen. We will get your names.
Thank you. Next, we call Daniel Curry.
How you doing? My name is Danny Curry. I've been harassed by the deputy sheriff for the past 8 years. He's continued to use the Stingray tracking device against me, hacking my cell phones, my bank account, my cars, anything electronic, he's hacked. I tried to report him, but to no avail. Every time I do it, my emails, phone calls, everything like that is intercepted. Now I just want to know what can you guys do as a clerk to remedy this? I've been going through a lot of stress and everything. I'm a military vet. I try to work. I'm a single father. I take care of my daughter every day by myself. Don't ask for no help. But yet this person is still harassing me. I have the proof in my bag here where it has a 69 people where he got the code to hack any phone and there is any electronic device. Every time I try to report it, they say, oh no, he doesn't work here. I said, okay, well, let me go to the FBI. Went to the FBI, he reached out to them and told them, oh, he'll handle it. But no, it's not handled. All he does is he's damaging my vehicles. Anything that I have that's electronic, like I said, he messes it up. And it's been going on since 2017. He's put me in jail for no reason. I call the police and I go to jail. I'm looking for help, and he has them arrest me. One day in 2018, I'm walking with my hands up, no shirt on, no weapons. I've had a gun legally, but I haven't had one since I was in the military. And he had them take me to county mental health for no reason, just because I'm trying to speak out against him. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we call Paloma Serna.
Before Paloma begins her remarks, sir, have you come to CLERB and filed a complaint about this deputy yet? Okay, can we have somebody reach out to you and give you the information about how to do that before you leave tonight?
I can, but it has to be in person because like I said, we can accept all of my emails and everything.
We can do that. We'll let you know how to do it in person, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that, sir.
My name is Paloma Serna, the mother of Elisa Serna, who died in sheriff custody by medical neglect from deputies and medical staff. Tonight I'm speaking because the public needs to know something extremely serious. Former jail nurse Dana Lee Pasquale, who was involved in my daughter Elisa's death, is now appealing her determination so she can return working inside the San Diego jail. This situation is exactly why CLERB's new oversight authority over medical staff is so important and why you must take it seriously. Elisa was 24 years old, seizing, vomiting, repeatedly, and asking for help. She was dismissed by the very medical personnel responsible for her care, including Nurse Pasquale, who failed to recognize and respond to obvious signs of medical crisis. She collapsed and she died on the floor. Now that CLERB has authority over medical conduct, you have a responsibility to use it. Oversight cannot be symbolic. It cannot be passive. It cannot wait until someone else dies. Because this is the reality. If someone who was involved in fatal medical neglect can attempt to come back into our jails, then the system has not learned anything from these deaths. Life depends on a decision made by nurses inside those facilities. Their decision determines whether someone lives or dies. CLERB's new authority means nothing unless you enforce it. No one involved in fatal medical failure should ever be allowed to return to the position where they had held people's lives in their hands. Her hearing will be here with the civil commissioner upstairs in April. They delayed it. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to the people who are waiting online. And the next person is Deirdre McLeod. We do see your name. Okay. Are you there, Deirdre?
Yes. My name is Deirdre McLeod, and I'm a constituent of Supervisor Joel Anderson, District 2. My pronouns are she, her. While I welcome the news that CLERB now has a full complement of 11 members, 5 out of 6 new members present as male, and 5 out of 6 present as white. I worry this direction will, as longer-serving members finish their terms, take the board away from being demographically representative of the gender and racial makeup of San Diego County. Without including a rich diversity of voices, CLERB risks not fulfilling its mission as a, quote, citizens review board. I am also concerned about the number of new CLERB board members and staff who have been professionally involved in law enforcement, either directly or indirectly. It is possible to bring a critical eye to SDSO misconduct, neglect, and policy failures, having served in this field, as former executive officer Paul Parker proved. Still, hiring and seating so many former law enforcement representatives doesn't inspire confidence that the people of San Diego are getting independent civilian oversight of the sheriff. Instead, it feels once again that the police are policing themselves. To counteract this perception, it's more important than ever that this board invite racial justice, LGBTQ+, and community groups working within this field to give regular presentations similar to those you receive from the sheriff and probation. Every other month, you should be hearing from a related organization that isn't law enforcement, so that the knowledge and information you are drawing on while deliberating is balanced and fairly represents the experiences of all the people of San Diego, not just white male former cops.
Thank you. Next, we're going to call Yusuf at. Did I say that right?
Hello, everyone. I'm here to speak on an incident, a couple of incidents that I was facing outside, whether it's the police department or the sheriff's department. On February 2nd, 2020 of this year, I already had an issue with the police department, whether it's the National City Police Department or the San Diego Unified Police Department. The National City Police Department arrested me based on a lie that a citizen made. I ended up going to jail, getting bailed out, and then when I went to court, the first day for the court hearing, they said, hey, you know what, we have no evidence. Isn't that funny? Strange, right? Guess who had all the evidence? I did. Right? Isn't that strange? The person who's providing all the evidence, who has all the evidence, and then you guys just all of a sudden, oh, we don't want to pursue this court case no more. It's kind of obvious why you don't want to pursue this court case anymore, because there's nothing to pursue, right? Anyways, on February 2nd, 2020, I came here because I actually got arrested again, or detained this time, because I made a call because a white man, I'm gonna repeat one more time, a white man, right, had knives, believe me, in public, and I have pictures of this. I have pictures of this Caucasian male, no offense to anybody who's Caucasian, I have no personal offense to you, but he had knives, I have him photographed, threatened me, I call the police like, hey, he's threatening me with knives, I have it on photo evidence, and I have it on dispatch. Guess what the police did? Get on the ground, we see an African American, get on the ground right now. Oh, but you don't hear the call, the dispatch, where I have this dispatch recording on my phone? Regardless, okay. So I come here, right? I heard somebody say there's a police review board where there's people like you who can help me. So I'm like, oh, there's actually people who actually want to help. Oh, in this day and age, I thought that was live. I don't think that exists anymore, right? I thought it was a little bit evil in this world. Okay. So I come here. As soon as I step through the door, I'm asking one of the sheriffs, I say, hey, sheriff, you tell me where the San Diego Law Review Board is? That doesn't exist. That's the way he responded to me. I have it all on camera, I have it on video. I'm like, hey, sir, I'm just asking for a phone. So to de-escalate, he kept yelling at me, saying it doesn't exist, there's no such thing. So he's clearly lying, right?
Thank you, your time.
So he's clearly lying, right? So instead of trying to help me, he starts threatening me. Then he comes, I have a moral footage, he comes to the building and says, hey, I'm here to antagonize, I'm saying, sir, while recording, are you antagonizing me and threatening me? He says, yes, on camera, I'm threatening you. He said, on camera, I'm threatening you, I'm harassing you. All this on footage.
Sir,
I have somebody else
sir,
recording the
I'm
game here. But
Your
of
ti-
course,
your
we don't
time
want
is
to.
up.
We don't want to talk about time is up because it's a reality situation. People here, you're here supposed to help me,
We
right?
are
We're
referring-
supposed to help each other.
We are
But I'm
reviewing
getting
the case
threatened.
tonight.
I'm getting harassed, right?
We're
That's
reviewing
not
the case
cool.
tonight.
You know what's worse than a young man dying? Is me going to jail for no reason, and that's gonna lead me to going to keep creating crimes, right? That's not fair for that young man to die, but I shouldn't even be in jail because I shouldn't even been in that situation. That's not fair to me,
Sir,
right? But then when I
sit
get
down,
locked
we're
up,
gonna move on to
I
the
am
next
to
speaker.
fight somebody, I'm going to get locked up, right, brother?
Sir.
And then I get charged, right? But I should have never been in that situation, right? Then I have to get stabbed up, I should make sure I have to stab him up. Then I have to face 4 times in jail, right? For prison. What kind of cycle is this, bro? You guys are a joke.
We
You
have.
guys are all a joke. You're all a joke. You're all a joke,
we
right?
have-
You understand that for me, I shouldn't have been in that situation. That young man should have never died, right? And I should have never been locked up. That's a fact, right? Especially for me, who's actually going to school,
Sir,
who's a citizen. I
time is
don't
up.
go out breaking no laws.
Next
I don't go out fighting nobody. I don't go out threatening nobody. And I'm gonna give you another fact. If I was to sit here and threaten you, you know what will happen? I would get locked up. But he can threaten me and nobody gets locked up. We have to wait for 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, and appeals. Appeals after appeals after appeals. The system is a joke. We're tired of it. We're all fed up. We're not here to sit here and pay these babysitters all this money for us to hear and sit and kill us. Every day we have to wait here for help. Every day we have to wait here for the truth. It's a joke.
It's off.
But you wanna turn it off, but it's recorded. You see what I'm doing?
Thank you, sir.
You wanna turn it off though, right? You wanna turn that off though, but you don't wanna help people, right? And these are the same people who's supposed to help me, right? You guys all signed up here. He said, oh, he's a doctor in medicine and all this, but he doesn't want to help nobody. All you guys are all establishing community, right? But you don't want to help nobody. You guys are all the same people who try to preach positivity, preach goodness into the world. But when when all these people who are real people, hardworking, everyday people, you don't come here to assist them or assist them in any type of way. Think of your advice and your words can help them in the long run. But you don't want to do that. That's too much, right?
Have you removed it? You can't sit down, please.
Hey,
We are.
thank you. Thank you for letting me get it out. I'm sorry.
Time for
I'm sorry.
today.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So I don't appreciate saying that I take it seriously.
I
spent a lot of time telling you the case
I
today. We're gonna review it tonight.
I apologize.
Thank you for your time, for being here.
I apologize. I apologize.
Thank you. Next, we're gonna call Leslie Crawford on Zoom.
Yes, Leslie Crawford with Raymond Vogelman, 11022. Can I give my time to Yusuf Miller, please?
very emotional plea that the young man had. Yusef Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And I want to talk about the settlements now. The settlements that the county has paid out on in custody deaths. We just had a record settlement of 16 million. The one before that, 15 million. And the problem with these settlements, of course, these families can never get their loved one back, and there's a small compensation for the loss of this loved one. But the problem with this 16 million and 15 million is that I am paying it, and you are paying it. But I and you did not lose that life in custody. The Cerner family did not lose that life in custody. The Wells did not lose a life, and so on and so on. The community pays the settlements because the county is self-insured. It's something we need to look at for 2026 that we're going to be pushing on, is to make it so that if the death is caused by any fault or error in law enforcement, that money comes out of the sheriff's budget and not my budget and not their budget and not your budget. This is an insult to the injury that the community, who did not neglect a single person in custody, is paying the bills. And as we continue to see more court cases come, we have about a dozen people in line waiting to go to court cases on these issues. The monies will continue to grow. Just in our family groups, and most of them couldn't make it here, we have a count of about $30 million have been paid out to some of the families that have already been serviced through these courts, and we have about a dozen left that are coming up. But all of these monies come from you and I. This is ridiculous. We need to fix it so that when the county is self-insured, it should not be self-insured over neglect from an entity. And that entity today I'm talking about is the sheriff department.
Thank you. Next, we have Catherine Grandstone, but we have your request, but we don't see you in our list. If you're there, would you please raise your hand? Catherine Grandstone. Next, okay. Next, we have Damaza Macriston. And we do not see, oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie Sinclair. We don't see your name on the list. If you're there, please raise your hand. Stephanie, are you there? Okay, Tom Packard is next. We also do not see your name on our list, but we do have you signed up from the online option.
Amanda, can I just clarify, are you saying that you don't see them online in order to unmute them? Okay, I just want to understand, thank you.
Sorry.
Don't forget this on.
Okay, am I on?
Screen. I think it's Tom Packard.
Yeah, am I on?
You are, we can hear you.
Yeah, Tom Packard here. I commented at the November meeting regarding an earlier CLERB request to have sheriff staff share information about their continuous quality improvement process. As far as I know, there's not been a discussion on this. I think that having such a data on specific improvements that the sheriff has made based on lapses in quality related to preventable jail deaths is so important that I'll keep mentioning this until the sheriff does provide meaningful data on specific changes, or you tell me to stop because this isn't a priority for you. The sheriff makes general comments about things she has done to prevent jail deaths, but has never, to my knowledge, provided enough detail to give the community any reassurance that she takes this seriously and has made adequate specific changes based on past bad behavior. I was amazed and disturbed that at your last meeting, she didn't list jail deaths as one of her challenges. I'm glad that Mr. Ware made this point at the meeting. Overall, I was disappointed with her lack of detail on specific changes and her not conveying a sense of urgency on this subject. Getting accredited, having more staff, and getting new facilities and biometric monitoring devices will not be nearly enough. I repeat my request that you insist that the sheriff fully share detailed documentation of all changes that will reduce preventable deaths at our webpage, and ask sheriff staff to provide written updates on progress at each of your meetings. If you don't insist that she provide such data, I'll begin to doubt your commitment to systems change regarding jail deaths. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, we have a written statement from David Myers. CLERB cannot be independent when the sheriff's office controls the scene, the evidence, and access. CLERB is kept outside while DA investigators get full entry and the initial briefing. CLERB can't confirm missing video, evidence arrives too late, intercom pleas aren't recorded, but calls, including attorney-client, are. Oversight can't work under these limits. The next written statement is from Candace Bell. The staff recommends an unfounded finding, but their rationale does not reflect what occurred. The rationale centers on one call from Deputy Gary on 2/13/24 and ignores the prior weeks when he avoided or deflected my requests for information. It also overlooks that my county-issued devices were withheld for nearly 6 months and that he never gave the explanation the staff describes. Thank you. And the next one is Dana Sinclair. And fight doesn't really matter because he wasn't fighting at the time the officer arrived, but already being escorted and stated in report. The vice principal stated to me that what the deputies did was unnecessary. Transported to ER via ambulance. Immediately upon arrival, the sergeant showed up asking for release of records, and I asked what he said protocol. I said what he said possible lawsuits. I initially gave consent. They took him down, and he said the same way you take all people down, meaning in an aggressive brute force, with no regard for safety or injury. Sheriff office contacted. Thank you. And that concludes our request to speak. Oh, we have one more that popped up. Okay. What's the name? Beverly Angela?
Yes, I'd like to give my minutes to Yusuf Miller, please.
Yusef Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And I'm going to continue on the ability for us to charge the sheriff department versus the community for these in-custody deaths. The sheriff has agreed this year on the recent in-custody death settlement, 16 million, to pay out of the sheriff's budget, which is $1 billion of a budget. And to pay the 16 million, great. I think that's where it should be coming from. But my point is, before that, when we had the 15 million for the Cerner family, when we had the 6 million for Michael Wilson's family, when we have 3 million for approximates, these are approximates for Frankie Greer, and we had 8 million just happened today or yesterday for the family of Anthony McGrath. All of these payouts are coming from the community, and it is a stress on the community to have to pay for these unnecessary costs that come from law enforcement. So when we see this pattern and the ability for the sheriff to actually pay for it, it shouldn't be an option. It should be something that is not in her volition or whoever holds the chair's volition. It should come out of their office automatically once they hit a certain threshold of responsibility. And we need to look into that seriously. Now, I know you are not the body that does that, but I want you to be prepared as it's coming through your office to start thinking about it and start considering who and how you're gonna push those buttons, cross those T's and dot those I's to make sure that that happens. So, with that, conclude. Sorry.
Amanda, are there any more speakers?
No,
Request to speak, rather?
that concludes our request to speak for item 3.
Thank you very much. That concludes item 3. Go to item number 4, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion from the board to approve the minutes from the November 6th meeting? Dr. Brown, Dr. Brown made the motion, Mr. Mendelson made the second. Adele, can you please call a roll? Yes.
Vice Chair Middleton,
Yes.
Secretary Casano, yes. Dr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Pearson,
Yes.
Ms. Frederica Monreal,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Same, wasn't here.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Okay, let the record show the minutes have been approved by a total of 7 in favor and 1 abstain.
Thank you. And just a reminder to board members to please use your microphones so that people that are online can hear our proceedings tonight. So when you speak. I'm going to go to item number 8, which is board member query for sheriff and probation's liaisons. I don't see Lieutenant Bergera here. Okay, then Officer Diaz-Pena. There it is. We'll begin with Officer Diaz-Pena and then we'll go to Lieutenant Bergera. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. That is all the numbers that were requested. So, for the numbers, for population ratio, I do have for East Mesa, we're 39% filled. For YTC commitment, we are 93% filled. For YTC detention, we are 45% filled. And then for our ethnicity, we have for YTC detention, we have a 37 Hispanic. And before I start, these numbers are all youth who were in the facility at any time in the month of October. So they do the numbers from the month prior. So let me preface that before I start. So at YTC detention, we had 37 Hispanic, 24 African American, 7 white, and 2 other. For YTC commitment, we had 69 Hispanic, 19 African American, 11 white, 4 other. And for East Mesa, we have 87 Hispanic, 32 African American, 10 white, and 5 other. And I can also send these to you guys via email.
Thank you. We had received some other population numbers and I was confused, but you have not provided these to us in writing yet, correct? Okay, if you could, I appreciate that. And I believe it was members Bisson and Federico Mondragon that asked for these statistics. Do you want to just restate your question? I should have asked you to do that before she began. Remember what you asked for, just ethnicity breakdown?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were asking for population in the detention facility versus capacity, I believe was your question.
Right, and it was on percentages which you provided. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you asked for the percentage, that's right. Okay. Thank you for following up with that tonight, and if you could provide them in writing, I appreciate it. Are there any other questions for our probation liaison from any of the board members? Go ahead, Ariana.
Not so much question, but comment. It's concerning the numbers as you shared. I'm also just starting to think like what type of support is provided to the young people. And obviously you have a large population made of Hispanic, Latino youth, African American youth. I'm thinking, does that reflect the staff that you have? How are they providing support, cultural needs? Just comments.
Our executive officer, Mr. Kleina, has arranged for tours of various facilities. Have you been able to go to the detention, to the youth? I would encourage all our board members, that like I said, we have several new members, to visit these facilities and see the programs that are available and what the staffing looks like. We can talk some more internally about what kind of educational presentation we could have here at the board regarding what's provided at the youth detention facilities. But again, I want to encourage everybody to please go and visit. I've been to all of them. They all have very different looking programming and facilities and infrastructure. So thank you for bringing your information to us tonight. Thank you. Lieutenant Georgia.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I surprised you because I took it out of order. So I believe that you provided some information to us that was asked last month. You provided it to us in writing. And then as I asked last month, if you could go ahead and present it here tonight, because I want members of the public to be able to hear it as well.
Sure. So it was during the, I believe after the sheriff's presentation or part of it, the first question or item was about a monthly report on the capacity at each facility. And there's some links where people can go on to those websites to look specific things up. But the Board of State and Community Corrections website has an average daily rate of 4,362 incarcerated persons for 2025. And as of, let's see, it would be October 16th, 2025, we have an itemized list of what we had in every facility. I can go over that itemized list, but what I can also tell you is in custody on December 2nd, we had 4,311 incarcerated persons. And if you'd like, I can itemize them by facility.
That's total in all of the facilities?
Yes.
What is the capacity of all facilities if that's the total incarcerated at the time of the data you're giving to us?
The BSCC average daily rate is 4,362. I honestly don't know what our total capacity is, what we're at, but as to how many people we could have there. But the BSCC is 4,362 and 4,311 is
where you are.
Yeah, so a little bit under their capacity.
That includes rooms with bunks though, correct?
Any type of housing, yeah, any or the amount of people in each cell, yes, it includes there. And one of the other issues was how many deputies have gone through the disciplinary process in the last year. Some of these would have started before the actual year, but were finalized in the date range of December 1st of 2024 to December 1st of 2025.
and that number is 144. And for our purposes, discipline includes counseling all the way up to termination. So didn't go into an itemization as to how many people were terminated or how many were counseled, but it was 144, and that was for one. The third was regarding deputies' access to IP's medical records. Is there a policy or is that HIPAA related? And we do have a policy. I can kind of give you a summary, but basically health staff may disclose protected health information about an incarcerated person or individual to a detention facility or law enforcement official, having lawful custody of such person or other individual if the detention facility or a law enforcement official represents that such protected health information is necessary for the following. And that's a provision of health care to the individual, the health and safety of the incarcerated person or other individuals, the health and safety of the deputy or other staff members, the health and safety of the deputy responsible for transporting that individual, law enforcement on the premises of the detention facility, and the administration and maintenance of the safety, security, and good order of a detention facility. So those would be the reasons why it would get passed along to the deputy. And the last one, at least that I am aware of, was a question about JPMU, which is our Jail Population Management Unit, doing a presentation for the board. They've answered questions in the past, but to do a full presentation, I tentatively talked to them and they would be okay with March, I want to say 5th. I could be wrong, but it would be a March 5th meeting, but that would be up to the board. And if it doesn't work for you, we can schedule it.
Thank you. I'll have Brett get back to you about that right away. I believe we have follow-up questions from the people who, the board members who originally posed these questions to you. So I'm going to turn that over to you, Mr. Mendelson. And if anyone else had a question for him to follow up, please let me know.
And thank you for the information about disciplinary actions like you discussed. There's a broad range. So I'm hoping that you could give us a breakdown for these different categories. And what I'll do is I'll read the categories, but I'm going to ask the chair, should give this to the executive officer so he can transmit it to you. But what I'm hoping you can give us is a breakdown for how many admonishments, how many suspensions, how many terminations, how many conditional and revoked certifications, how many criminal charges, and how many times there's been an inability to impose discipline because of resignation or retirement. And we can transmit that.
Okay, that will help.
Brett will send that to you in writing, but I have a follow-up question regarding the ability to share medical information. That was one of the questions that you provided an answer to. What I heard you say, and tell me if I heard you correctly, is that the deputies and medical staff do have the ability to transfer to the detention facility deputies medical information about incarcerated people after they come in through intake. As soon as they're being housed in a potential facility, they can transfer the information about that person's medical history or records to the detention staff that are in charge of supervising them. Is that correct?
Under certain circumstances, yes, and I'm going to assume that the circumstance you're talking about, it would be fine, yeah. And then there's certain information. So some information is automatically transferred. So if somebody was under the influence, then they would go to a specific holding cell area versus someone maybe who wouldn't be. Somebody might get directed to speak to a mental health clinician versus somebody else may not go down that same path, just based on what they get in intake.
So not just to the medical staff, but also to the law enforcement officers who are providing supervision in the detention facility, for example, like a chronic condition.
It could be transferred to them, yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have follow-up questions, Lieutenant? Yes, Dr. Brown.
I just need to go to my microphone. Thank you for asking these questions. When the deputies come on the shift, do they share information about if they know about a person having some medical challenges, do they pass that information on to each shift? In other words, if I'm working and I know something is happening with the problem, am I obligated to pass that information on to the next people that come in?
Okay, I understand. The honest answer is kind of a yes and a no, depending on the circumstance. So some of our housing areas are medical observation housing areas. Everybody in there has some type of medical condition that's why they're housed in there. So they may not necessarily pass that back and forth, but there's specific notes inside our, like better term, our gyms, our management system, and there may be notes in there if it's relevant. The medical staff, they keep their notes, the medicines that they're giving, things like that. And that may not necessarily be shared with the deputies unless it's relevant. So the medical staff is going to cover that, but it may be, hey, this person's in this unit, they've been here since last week, and maybe they might give an update, they're still receiving medication, or they went and saw the doctor today. They may not know all the details of it, but to an extent, that may get passed verbally or just in the system.
My follow-up question then, would it be reasonable to request, I talked to the board, that you all have something like that on when you shift passes that people share, like this person's not well, it doesn't look like that'll be on, might not be in the jams, we still need to make sure someone knows that they're not doing that. That information is automatic. I'm presuming that the deputies would notify the fellow deputies that was probably right.
Yes, so anything that's relevant or out of the ordinary, they're gonna pass it along. If it was something that needed immediate action, they would have already done it, contact the medical staff or whatnot, but let's just say I was normally housed in this cell and right now I'm down at medical. Then when you came on your shift, the deputy would tell you, hey, Georgia is right now down at medical, or he is out at the hospital, or that stuff does get verbally passed on regardless of it being entered into the system.
That's perfect, thank you. And with nurses, how much of the nurses involved in the, like sharing information? When the shift changes, do they have, I'm looking for something that's where they're very sort of comprehensive in medical care of these people incarcerated. You all have some like foolproof system to make sure that everyone who needs to know have the information they need to have. Sure that people are safe.
I would have to get back to the specifics for the medical side about it, but they do have your notes and they have charts and they have entered into their system. But as far as if I was a deputy and I came on for my shift, it would be very unlikely that I would be meeting with the nurse, or the nurse would be there to pass along any information. They do that on their side. I'm just not sure the procedure or how they do it between nurse to nurse. But the deputies exchange the information verbally and or, like I said, in the system.
Thank you. I'm just looking to make sure that everybody in this, all the deputies and nurses, everyone knows that we got someone safe, that everyone needs to be sort of like reactive and on it at all times. So something like that.
Yeah.
Like maybe later we get more information.
Sure, I can find out more from medical on what they do. But like I said, if I came on shift, there's gonna be certain things that they're gonna be routine and they're gonna happen. Most of what gets exchanged is things that have to get done. I don't know, it's not routine, but they're gonna come up. So there's gonna be medication paths that maybe come in shift. Well, that's routine, and the nurses would hand out the medication. The deputies wouldn't really get involved in that, other than providing security. But they're not sitting there going, okay, well, this, what medications does this person get to take? The medical's in charge of that for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Dr. Thomas.
Are the medical records electronic medical records, or are they hand filled out and are written medical records?
You know, I don't know the exact answer to that. I'm pretty sure that they are electronic. There may be some hand ones. But I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or another on both tonight.
Lieutenant Treasurer, I think I'm a little bit confused by your answer, so I'm gonna nitpick here a bit. It's the medical services staff are communicating with each other when they change shifts, for example, about a particular incarcerated person and what their medical condition is, but that information isn't delivered to the law enforcement deputies, is it?
No, so however they exchange the information, I'm not sure how they do it. It's
When you say they, you mean the medical staff?
yes, sorry about this.
Okay.
Yes, the medical staff, how they do it, I'm not sure of your system. They may exchange information with the deputies, but it's usually not going to be a shift change. It might be during medication pass. They may exchange, say, hey, we're going to have to do this for this patient. We're going to have to give them this medication, or they're going to have to come see the doctor. It's all
strictly medical staff, correct? The medical staff are having these conversations with each other. They aren't having these conversations with law enforcement deputies, is my understanding. And I'm doubling down on this because I want to make sure I understand it correctly.
I'll definitely have to get back to you to give you a definitive answer, but I would say generally, no, they are not doing it at shift change, but when they come to the module, they may explain to the deputies what is needed, or they may call.
The medical staff may explain to the deputies.
Yes, they're just not doing that shift change. So if I show up at 6:30, that doesn't mean that's when medicals shift changes, and they're also not there in the modules with the deputies. So if they give medication, they go from module to module to module, and then whatever deputies are there, they work with that deputy to get the medication, for example, for his or her module. And then they move on to another one. So there may be that exchange of information between them at that point, but it wouldn't be when I come on shift, there's someone from medical sitting waiting for me
Correct,
to.
I understand.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like there's a place where that information is provided in writing. It sounds like, at least what I'm hearing you say, is that it's a verbal transfer of information.
Between medical and.
Or from a deputy who's leaving shift and another one starting.
No, not necessarily. It could be in writing.
In writing.
It could be in our management system. I'm not to be honest, really an expert in the management system, what is kept in there. But there are records, and what I'm saying is it's more of the verbal is something that's a little bit more out of the ordinary. Or that needs attention right away. Hey, this person needs to go, for example, to medical. I was not able to bring them for whatever reason. As soon as you get a chance.
Instruction for what needs to happen next, for example, go to medical because there was an issue.
But somebody's general condition is, if it's documented, it's not something that I would necessarily exchange with the oncoming deputy.
I think it's clear to everyone, to me in particular, that as we launch into this medical oversight, we're going to need to have the details of this information about how the information is being transferred and whether it's provided in writing and who has access to it and what the policy is for how that information is transferred. Now, I'm not trying to put you on the spot right now. I'm just saying that I think that's why all of us are asking these questions, because we do need to understand it as we move into this new. Okay, and it sounds like Brett's going to talk about it a little bit during his report too. Thank you. Another follow-up question, Mr. Mendelson?
Real quickly, quite simply, there's a turnover brief between the custodial deputies at the various stations in the jail when new shifts come on.
Yeah, multiple. There's gonna be one where the team coming on, let's just say it's 40 something of them, with their supervisors, they get the initial, beginner brief, beginning of shift brief, and then as they go to relieve their partners wherever their locations are, then their partners brief them specific to, let's say, that module.
Any other follow-up questions for our sheriff's liaison tonight?
Did I have one?
No, board member questions.
But I know more stuff than he. I said I need a criminal trial.
Okay,
Red records, everything.
we will move on to, item number, you've got, no more questions, thank you. Sure, Zach, at the last place, we are. Executive officers report. Item number 6.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kurt Kalana. I'm the executive officer of CLERB. The pronouns are he, him, his. I have a long presentation for you all today, so please pardon taking some extra time, but we have a lot of stuff to go over tonight. First, I want to just talk about staff and where we're at. We made an offer to an outreach specialist that was accepted, and we are just waiting to go through the process to make sure that they can get on board, and we hope to start with them on January 5th. And so we're really excited about that. First outreach specialist that CLERB has ever had. We are beginning interviews for our data analyst and research analyst position starting next week. Again, we hope to get an offer out pretty quickly so that we can get them started early in the new year. The remodel of our new office space has begun and is scheduled to be completed at the end of March of this upcoming year. We are excited about much more space for everyone to actually have their own cubicle, which will be completely new for all of the staff. This is what I wanted to get into. Ellen and myself met with medical staff from the county, and that included all of the highest levels of the different healthcare providers that provide services within the county. So we talked to the head nurse, we talked to the head doctor, we talked to the head mental health individual, and we were in the room with Jesse Johnson, who's given presentations before about medical services division, and we had a really good conversation with them. And following that, we put together a list of items that we would like to get from medical services division, and that has been transferred to Mr. Jarger. And so we knew that that would take some time to get. But I just want to let you know that we've been working on that. We know that that's gonna take some time. And we don't know exactly what we don't know yet. And so we anticipate that there's gonna be ongoing communications with them. But it was good for us to share what the new jurisdiction really means to them. There was quite a lack of understanding of what it meant. And I think we actually were able to allay some fears that they had with the process and the confidentiality that they had concerns about, that their big concern was potentially losing either contracts or employees, I should say. And so I think we allayed quite a bit of their fears, but we'll continue those conversations so we make sure that we're on the same page with them. I've also met with people from the California Department of Corrections. Now, this is the state level of institutions, the prisons in which the California Department of Corrections has medical officers as well. So I have met with them, which is one doctor who heads all of the doctors in the state that deal with prisons. And we're talking about, I think, upwards of 120,000 people incarcerated at any one given day. And then, so they've been a great source of information for me. And we are attending a webinar with them next week to talk about medical legal in custody death cases specifically. So we expect to get some really good information from that. And I will continue to meet with as many of them as possible to just keep working on it. So speaking of that, we are working with our Department of Purchasing and Contracting to send out a request for quotation for medical experts, so subject matter experts, so that when we do start collecting records on cases, so that we can get it to them as soon as possible. We hope to start getting some responses very soon. Just a reminder that there's a QR code. You guys can help us. Where is that placed?
Right
You
there.
guys seen it? Please note that all those documents that we're talking about as attachments from the prior month are all there. Any attachments for tonight are there. And speaking of that, you heard a lot about numbers from Mr. Jarjura. Obviously, those were just provided to the board a couple of days ago, so you will get all that information next month. And just for your information, the question came out is what's the capacity of the 7 detention facilities? It's just under 6,000. However, as you might see in your notes, that doesn't mean that all of them are under capacity at this one given time. So some may be either closer or over capacity, and some may be way under capacity. And I will note that the 4,300 that they're averaging around right now is actually per day, per year, 500 more than the last year and even more than the year before. We do not know, but yes, Prop 36 might be a large factor in that, but I anticipate that there will be many different organizations that will start looking at those numbers and determine that. But we all know what an increase in jail population will do. And so we're keeping an eye on all of that. The priorities, obviously we've welcomed 4 new board members. We are super excited. They've been wonderfully flexible with getting to the multiple different facilities. I will tell you, just recently, we had one tour at Vista in the morning and in the afternoon, George Bailey. So there was a lot of effort that went into that. I do appreciate that they got out every single one that we put on our list. And the liaisons, including Lieutenant Jarjura and his staff, were the ones that coordinate all of those for us. So I do thank them for getting the board members out. And I would echo for those of you that have been to those, to understand how much of a better understanding you will get when you are reviewing those cases. It will give you the perspective of what you've seen when you are in those tours. So I would highly recommend it, even for those of you that maybe have been in the past, to get out again. There is a new, for the docket for Tuesday's Board of Supervisors meeting, there is an individual that is on the docket to be a replacement for seat 1 for this board. And so until Tuesday, and that gets approved, I'll leave it at that, but we should have 1 more new board member by next meeting, which will actually be the February meeting. Case updates. 15 new cases. As you know, we closed 22 in our last meeting. We've gotten to about 115 open investigations, and we're going to have 16 cases that we're reviewing today. I'm going to talk about one more agenda item procedure, because I think this is important for the public who maybe needs to know, and our brand new board members, on what is the procedure for placing an item on the agenda. The agenda for each meeting is normally provided to the board in advance, about a week in advance. It's published at least 72 hours before a meeting. But the important part of that is the items that are put forward to the agenda for any regular meeting only can be approved by the chair. And so when we have an executive council meeting, the chair controls the agenda. board members are requested to put their requests for items to be on the agenda to me so that we avoid any Brown Act violation issues, and then that can be transferred to the chair when we have our executive officers meeting. So I just want to do that. And now I'd like to give you guys a little presentation on a project we've been working on for quite some time. If you would clue that up for me. For board members, you will see in the back of your pages a frequently asked questions. These, I want to start at the beginning. There we go. So we have been working for quite some time to provide both the board and the public a thorough frequently asked questions page. And right now, those sitting in front of you, and the reason why just the presentation is put forward is that these were just completed as drafts. And we are asking the board to use the next time before our next meeting to get your recommendations, your questions, your comments, any issues you have with the questions. If you think we've missed something that is a frequently asked question, please get that information to me so that hopefully by the next meeting in February that we can get these to you finalized and also get them to the public on our website so that we can get some of these questions out there. I think especially what we've noticed, again, with Ellen and I, even talking to the people that really should know what's going on, there's a lot of questions that are still out there. So I just want to talk a little bit about each one so you'll have an idea of what's coming. If you could move forward. These, again, are just draft frequently asked questions to help the board and the public. They're meant to be clear and simple responses, but note that they're not always what is written exactly in our rules and regulations, which are many, many pages longer, or the Brown Act, which is extensive, Robert rules. They are the rules on their own, and I would always suggest that we go to those for those answers, but we're going to try to answer as many of them for you. Almost all of the questions that are before you are going to be placed on the website once we get them done. There's going to be one portion of the board member questions that is in an internal procedure process and how you deal with staff, especially in regards to cases. And so that stuff will remain with just the board. And so here's just a few of the examples of the topics that we've covered now. And they start with filing a complaint. What is the beginning? What's the beginning of our process? Who may file a complaint? Again, this is going to be basic information that will get more in depth as you go along, as you read the questions, and it's going to talk about what is potentially our jurisdiction, how does the process work, how do they get notified, all those different types of questions. The next one is investigations. I know that there's a lot of questions about what our investigators do behind the scenes, how they do their job, what type of information do they review, how is it put together. That's going to be explained in this investigations case. Next one.
So, Brad, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, just because I want to know, and I want the members of the public to know, the pages that, we all can't read up there, that we have in front of us, that they don't have in front of them. Are you going to put, even though this is a draft, are you going to make those available on the website so members of the public can see what you've added to your FAQs here, or you're going to wait till it's final?
We're going to wait until we make sure that we've got it correct and final all across the board. And so that we're not putting out any misinformation.
Okay.
So they would not be on the QR code.
Not yet until the final. Yeah, and next time we expect them to be available at some level.
Thank you.
No, the next one is just Peace Officer Bill of Rights. And I know there's going to be questions, why do we have to know this? There's a lot of issues within the peace officer bill of rights that we as investigators and we as board members have to keep in mind and follow the rules of the peace officer bill of rights with confidentiality issues, that type of thing. What type of protections they may have when we question them. That's going to be covered in this police officer bill of rights and how that particular bill works with CLERB in our cases. Next one. This is the one we're talking about for the CLERB board members. It's really a how to frequently asked questions of how did you get into this seat to begin with? How are you appointed? What are terms? What gives the CLERB the the rights and the authority to even investigate, so that you know that. There's going to be quite a few questions there for board members on that. Next one is Brown Act. Again, we will put this out there. These are going to be the basic questions, like what is the Brown Act? I know the public hears this all the time. What's the Brown Act, right? These are the rules in which governing bodies like CLERB must follow, because it's California law. It's a California open meeting law. So all of the things that you will hear about, when can we have public comment on a particular item, or how we provide whether or not items should be on the agenda or not, and when can they be added, those types of things, those are going to be all put forward in the Brown Act. And so this one will be just for the community as well to understand, the new board members. Next one is Robert's Rules of Orders. Now, again, these are just a widely used means of parliamentary procedure. And we throw out Robert's Rules as a word all the time, but we want you all to understand when we talk about Robert's Rules, it's guidance, right? The most important thing is that if there is a CLERB rule and regulation, that supersedes anything that conflicts with something in Robert's Rules. So we have an obligation to follow our rules and regulations as such. And there are instances in which our rules are stricter than the Robert's Rules of Order. Next is Civil Service Commission. I know we had a presentation on this, but I think it's a common thing, especially for a lot of new people, to really understand what civil service means and what is that process like and how that affects CLERB. So the focus on this particular FAQ page is going to be how does civil service affect CLERB? And what are the special things that come about when someone does appeal a decision by the board for a sustained finding. And finally, the last one before we get to the end is the Peace Officer Decertification workflow. This comes straight from Post's website. What this is a step-by-step process by which, if an officer, deputy, a probation officer is found to be sustained on a serious misconduct, then this is the process by which it goes to Post. And what do they do to review the cases that come for them, and what would happen necessarily if they sustained a violation as well, or agreed to the sustained violation. Now, we're obviously open to a lot more. You will know, for example, there's not one on our rules and regulations, but that's because they're all intertwined within these frequently asked questions. County rules, state law, all of that is just kind of mixed in with the ones that we have, but we're welcome to continue to modify and grow these frequently asked questions as we go, so that we can educate ourselves, educate the public as much as possible about what we do. And so, again, that transparency of what do we do really needs to get pushed out there. Any questions?
Questions from any of our board members regarding, Mr. Coyne's FAQs? You have time, Ariana, sorry.
So all the, recommendations that we have for comments, we just need.
Yes, please. The next board meeting is the beginning of February, so once we get back from Christmas break, at least mid-January, give us that opportunity so that we can put it in front of the executive officers. And that way we may be able to put it in as an open agenda item so that all the documents can go out.
Okay, so, when are you anticipating then that the documents would get posted? Not until February, the February meeting?
We would ask that they be reviewed by the board for that your understanding, make sure we got them all the right way for all of you, make sure they're correct. We've done a lot of research for many, many months, and big thank you to Amanda for making this look good, because it wasn't me. She really worked hard with me to color code these so you guys can really go to them. These are going to be placed into your board books. These are going to be placed into every single case meeting book so that if you have questions that you can go right to those pages for you.
Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. Is that the end of your report, Brett?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have much of a report tonight because I was going to talk about, that we have a new board member coming up to the Board of Supervisors, being nominated, at our meeting on Tuesday. I've already introduced the new board members from last month. Unless anyone has any questions for me, I don't have anything more to report out tonight. Okay. We'll move to, we already did item number 8, and there is no new business, so we'll move to board member comments. Any comments from the board for the good of the whole? Questions? Anything you wanted to raise? Dr. Brown, use your microphone. Please.
This is more of a question if we can do this. We often see in reports or assessments that our numbers are extremely high or what have you. And we're comparing them to other jurisdictions. And we don't know the size of those other jurisdictions, what their numbers are. And I believe to make a real comparison of one that's public will have a good idea if I think either. Instead of just throwing numbers out there, just have real numbers for them to compare what's happening in the city.
Are you referring to the incarceration numbers or deaths in custody or?
Numbers, conservation, death numbers, how, like, for example, you say we're one of the largest in the state or what have you. You know, we need to know, I think I wouldn't know it. Like Los Angeles, for example, how do we compare to LA County? Numbers like that.
I think we do have that information, but maybe Brett can address a little bit more.
Well, I can tell you that those numbers that I put together and provided you all with websites for where I collected all of that information, they are public, but it does take a little bit to know where you're going and what you're looking for. And so having a data analyst next year would be a wonderful opportunity to have somebody with expertise in that area to get you those answers. So I look forward to a long list of projects I've already got on my list, which includes getting the policy recommendations analyzed to all of you so that you know what we've done in the past. Where did we have success? Where did we not have success in getting the sheriff to make changes to policy? So there's a few projects that we certainly need to work on, but I think we can do that. Thank you.
Mr. Moody?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask a question about the letter, Brett, and you responded to saving lives in Custom, California. Yeah, I was just reading earlier where it stated, or you stated, CLERB recently found that logs of intercom communications may be obtained in Las Vegas George Bailey and Rocky Mountain Detention Facility. Are those the only three out of all our county facilities that have a log of those intercoms?
So those are the three facilities that have updated their intercom systems. It was put in by a contractor. It is my understanding at this point in time that the contractor has that data. It's not something that the sheriff has. So we are working together with our liaisons on what is the process for CLERB to request that information and how do we do it correctly? And then what kind of information are we going to get? Because we do not know that at this point in time. But we are working on that and seeing what kind of information we can provide the board.
But the other facilities do not have that capability.
They do not.
This is the correct time to ask these questions, since we can't ever really meet as a group other than in a public setting. So if there's anything else like that anyone would like to raise with Mr. Kleina or any other members of the board? Okay. Then we will move, yes, Dr. Brown, sure.
If we come up with a question, we can contact this time.
You certainly can, yeah. Okay.
For the answers. And they can be shared by Mr. Klein to the rest of the board.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify that. If you have a question that you would like to share the information with the rest of the board and you want to you ask Brett a question, he provides the answer. Brett or Naris can email the entire board with that information. I can't ask a question and Brett copy you all on an email and then have an email exchange with all of you about any of this information because that violates the Brown Act. So that's why people say, send the question to Brett. Brett will provide the information and then it will go out as a blind copy. So we are not talking to each other outside of a public venue.
And I would remind everybody that when I do share information, that the entire group of board members are blind copied so that there isn't the ability to continue communication on that email chain. And so those are the same emails that I produce and provide to the public every month. So if I'm providing information to you all, I'm also publicly making that available at the next meeting. And
go ahead, Ellen, you have something to, sounds like you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I just want to clarify that as Executive Officer Klein said, that is in reference to publicly available information that will be made publicly available. However, if it is anything about a case or anything confidential, then it will not be shared with the board as a whole outside of an appropriately noticed closed session. And we can always get into the parameters on that. But always go through staff, don't go through each other to share information. That's a best practice. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. Anything else? If not, then I would ask for our council to please read us into closed session.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. On this evening's closed session agenda, Section 12A, Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. We have 16 cases for summary hearing, all of which are as described in the agenda, and that concludes my read into closed session this evening.
Okay, thank you. We will move into closed session in, we want to go with like 5 minutes? Do you need more than 5 minutes? Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight.